How's it going, everyone? We're back again working on a wood turning. This is one of the projects, the many projects that I've been working on besides the armoire. So the armoire itself has just been sanding. If you want to know what I've been doing, it's sanding. All the time. That's it. For the past 2 weeks, I've just been sanding all the components, prepping them to be glued up and assembled into the final piece. Once it gets to that point, I'll go ahead and show you all the process in which I'm going to assemble it, because it has a very specific method to be assembled. If I mess up, then I'll have to try to break it down, break it back apart, and redo it, which you can't really, because most of it is going to be glued together, and once it's together, that's it. It's staying together. Anyways, let's talk about what I'm making today in this video. This video, I'm making wooden wine glass stems, a set of 4 of them, but they're not going to be identical. Now, making identical wine glass stems is much harder than making 4 individual looking wine glass stems, but I prefer to make the individual unique stems rather than all the exact same. I feel like it adds more of a fun flair to your wine glass set, because if they're all the exact same, it just looks like it's machine made. It looks like there's no real thought or joy behind it, in my personal opinion. I like it to where you know it's a set because they're made of the same materials and there's the same craftsmanship behind each of them, but they're each a little bit different. If someone asks me to make wine glass stems all identical, I can do that. I just prefer not to when I'm going to an event or trying to sell them at like a function or whatnot, or setting up example pieces. I prefer to have more uniqueness in my work. It draws people in more. As you can see, I do have my moments with the lathe where I struggle or forget something or what have you. And that's just because I don't use it that often. I typically only do wood turnings when someone wants me to, or when it's coming close to an event. Like this month in May, at the very end of it, I'll be going to an event and hopefully selling a lot of my products. I'm going to be displaying several new items. 3 different style cutting boards. Sorry, 4 different style cutting boards than I had from last year. And I'm trying to put new items in each event that I go to, at least 1 or 2 new variants or new kinds of items, just to change it up and have people that know I'm going there to show up just to see what I made this year, or at that month or that event, what have you. Right now I'm putting a tenon on the bottom of this blank so my 4-jaw chuck can grip onto it properly. The calipers are set to 2.5 inches, but I'm wanting to go below that. The 2.5 inches is like the maximum set point that I want. I'm only cutting in about 3/4 of an inch, maybe an inch at most. Again, just to give the jaw something to grab onto. Then after I have the tenons cut on all 4 pieces, I'm going to shape them. So I'll go ahead and shut up and let you all enjoy the wood turning. So what you see me doing here is prepping the 4-jaw chuck. I am connecting each individual jaw as needed. This is the Nova set, well, a set made by Nova. It was rather pricey, but I wanted a 4-jaw chuck that had multiple different jaws, like one for reaching inside a piece and expanding to hold it, a larger set of jaws to hold larger pieces, and a small set like this one. This is the small set that comes with it. I think its max is like 3 inches, I think, or 2 3/4, I think, something like that. I forget off the top of my head. But I wanted a nice set that would last me a long time, that wouldn't fall apart like with cheaper sets that I've had in the past. Right now I'm tightening in the set screw that holds it onto the threads. Technically speaking, you shouldn't have to have a set screw because of the direction that it's spinning, but this lathe has a reverse mode on it, so most do have a set screw, just in case something happens. I widened the jaw all the way out. Oh, hold on, gotta slide you back. And now I'm gonna go ahead and tighten it in, get it all situated. It's not going to rotate perfectly straight. You're gonna see that here when I test rotate it, when I'm messing with it. And that's fine. I'm going to re-straighten it, like re-true it, once I have it all set in. It doesn't really matter because a lot of that material is going to be wasted anyways and formed down to a much thinner wine glass stem. This is the wine glass that's going to be fitted into the stem. That little nub on the bottom is all that's left of the glass stem that would have been on it. Those are hand blown. Oh yeah, as you can see here, that thing is just wonky. And I wanted you to see the first one at least to see how wonky it was before I put the tailstock back on it. The tailstock is the piece of the lathe that you all are resting on right now. So, you can work on a piece with just the jaws holding it. It's a bit sketchy because right now it's just kind of held in by hopes, dreams, and whatever friction is produced by how hard you locked it in. But it'll work. The material, I don't think I mentioned this, is wormy chestnut, which is a pretty sought after wood, at least in the south where I'm at. It's a decent wood. It's very brittle. Once we get down to turning the fine details on the wine glass stem, you'll see it tear out or like shatter almost. Like it fragments much more than other woods I've turned. So that is a concern. But I'll go ahead and let you all continue observing. Now, it's around this point where I typically start to think about the design of the wine glass. As you can see, I've already shaped out the foot of the glass itself. I've got a rough idea what I want to do with this one. But I prefer to work from the top of the stem down to the base. Primarily because the top is going to be the thinnest, so do the hardest part first. It's as if you're making a cocktail. Use the most expensive ingredient first, so if you mess up, it can be reversed, hopefully. You know, you put your brandy or your bourbon into the mixer first, and if you pour too much, you can just pour it back, which is more for like a home bar, not a professional bar setting, but it helps you adjust the amount that you have. Same with the wood turning here. It's kind of like, I didn't take enough off. It looks a little bit too chunky. Let me reshape the neck. I can go back. If I take too much off, then I can stop before I progress any further, and I'm not, 90% done finishing the top of the stem, screwing up, and then having to toss it and wasting a bunch of time. It's more for me to catch my mistakes early on. So, and right there, what just happened there, it's a rookie mistake, obviously, because I'm not a professional wood turner. It is just something that I can do, but not do like excellently. I'm decent. I'm learning still, as we all are. But I just caught on the end there and tore out a bunch of the end grain on the base of the stem, and we'll see that. I'll have to go back and very gently like feather it out and touch it up. Wood turning is my favorite form of woodworking, but in the area that I reside in, it's not sought after enough for me to make a living on it solely, which is why you see me doing a little bit of literally everything. I live in an area where if you do just one thing, you better do that one thing absolutely perfectly and not make a single mistake. Because there are other people in the area, like this area is just full of tradesmen, is what I'm getting at. And all the tradesmen are typically really good at one or two things, but if you specialize in a bunch of things, a jack of all trades in terms of the varieties of woodworking, then it helps you out a lot more. I can take on more clients and more projects. I'm not limited by just one shtick. So it's helpful and a downfall. It's both things at the same time. It's helpful in terms of me getting more of a variety of work and more work in general, but it is a downfall in the terms of like, I don't specialize in this, so there are certain things I just can't do. Like, I'm limited by the size of item I can turn on a lathe. I only have this lathe to work on, and the max length is 21 inches. A professional wood turner, I would have invested in like a 4-foot long lathe so I could turn pretty much everything within reason. Like, I would have put all the money into a lathe. I wouldn't have a table saw. I just have a lathe. Maybe a bandsaw, but being like a general woodworker where I do a bunch of different little things, it helps out. I do want to specialize in furniture eventually. I'm not certain at which era of furniture I want to specialize in. I'm still debating on that. So we'll see how it goes. What I'm using here is a hollower, and I'm using it like a finisher almost, just gently going over the whole thing. And I'm using it like that because it's a smaller surface area on the cutting edge. So it's taking less off. I can be far more gentle and really just kind of scrape off the top surface and smooth it out more before I have to sand it. Now, some people do refer to these as carbide scrapers and not carbide turning tools. Technically speaking, their name is a carbide turning tool. The tips are replaceable carbide tips because I don't have a sharpening system for reusable turning tools. Sharpenable turning tools, I should say, not reusable. The tips are not that expensive in terms of the time I would spend sharpening all the tools at the beginning of every week, probably more than that. And it just saves space because I have very little space. So if you're thinking about getting into wood turning, choosing the right turning tools is probably a pretty big decision. So this stem specifically I want to make into a classic wine glass stem. The other three are going to be more of a unique design, whether that's in the foot of the glass or in the top of the stem. And we'll see that as we progress forward into the wine glass stems. Alright, we're going to go ahead and start sanding, starting at 80 grit, moving up to 160 grit, and then to 220 to finish it out. Some people like to go up to 240 or higher. I don't see the point in that. Once you go higher than 240, you're basically just polishing the wood, and I don't like to polish the wood, because once it gets wet, it will lose that polished feel. You'll feel the grain way more once you introduce moisture to it. I will polish a piece if a customer asks me to. If it's a custom order, you can have it however you like it, within reason. So typically, the finish that I like to use is a hard wax finish, but when I first started woodworking, the only finish I was familiar with was polyurethane. And let me tell you, my hatred for polyurethane is so deep. I've only got one thing of Wipe On polyurethane left, one little like metal canister of Wipe On polyurethane left right now, and I constantly think about dumping it down the drain or just like dumping it somewhere, like putting it in a bucket of sawdust and just dumping it in there, mixing it around, make sure it gets dried out, and then disposing of it all, because I hate it so much. I just despise polyurethane. It's a pain in the butt to apply. It feels like plastic. And when I make something out of wood, I want anyone that picks it up, that touches it, I want them to feel it and be like, wow, it's really smooth. But I want them to think that it's really smooth wood and not, oh, it's just a smooth finish, or oh, that feels like plastic, or it feels like friggin' MDF with a veneer on it. I don't like that. I want them to know for a fact that it is wood, you know. Again, if someone asks me to do polyurethane, I will do my best to apply it, and I will make it as best I can. Just because I despise doing something doesn't mean I won't do it, but it does mean that I am not going to enjoy it. You know? So, yeah, a really good hard wax recipe that I found from a Workshop Companion. Oh my gosh. Nick Engvall, I think is his name. And it's such a good channel. Check them out if you can. They're amazing people, great content, really informational. The channel looks at, Workshop Companion looks at woodworking on a scientific level, which you should, especially when it comes to finishes. Hard wax finish is probably the best one for these wine glass stems. While they are going to be exposed to moisture, it's not going to be that often, right? And yes, I do want them to withstand moisture exposure, but I also want them to feel like wood. So with these, I put on some urethane spar, 2 coats of that, sanded it down a little bit, made it smooth, and then I buffed in and sanded in the hard wax. So it feels really nice. I forget if I have that in this video or not. We will find out together. I edit these videos long after I make them, like I record them. So whenever I'm watching them, it's kind of like looking back on the week, or in this case, looking back on the month. Speaking of which, later on, within a few weeks, the month of May, we'll just say the month of May, there will be another video talking about the wine glass stems, other projects that you haven't seen, going over them, talking about them, showing you the finished products, and also talking about the future of the channel in the upcoming year. So you all are on the same page as I am, and you all are aware of what's going to be happening and what to expect. Thank you all for your time. I'm going to let you finish out the video without a voiceover.